This is a clip from Basketball at the Bar Live. Very, very much deserved. Well, speaking of a former MVP, James Harden struggles a little bit in this game. 19 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, 7 of 13 from the field. Misses a couple free throws late in this game. Calvin, he just seems like a different guy out there. He doesn't seem like the same James Harden that we saw in Houston. So I want to know from you, what is going on with James Harden? Is this temporary or is this the new James Harden?
It's hard to say with him. You know, I think the one thing about James Harden on this team is that he doesn't have to be the MVP James Harden from Houston on this team. He doesn't have to score 35 points a game for them to win anymore. Whereas in Houston, I think he absolutely had to carry the big shoulder or the most of the scoring weight on himself. But if he's coming in with 19 points and 10 assists a game, the shooting numbers are not bad either. 7 of 13, 2 of 4 from 3. As long as Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris are continuing to put up points the way that they have been, I'm not too concerned about the way James Harden is playing right now. He didn't have as many turnovers in this game, 3, as opposed to what we've seen, high turnover numbers from him lately. So people are obviously going to be criticizing him big time here because he was the one player coming into this postseason that I think a lot of people were saying has the most to prove, and it's championship or bust in Philadelphia, all that stuff. But the way that they're playing right now to me is okay. They're scoring a ton of points. Defensively, they've been really good. I think this is Embiid's team all the way. He's got to be the guy. So from Philadelphia's standpoint, I'm not too worried right now about James Harden.
I think the biggest thing this season that everyone was talking about was the rule change, right? Like people were taking advantage of calls, getting to the free throw line. James Harden, for me, was the biggest guy that basically, thrived off of those rules, right? Where you can't touch the defender. There was times where I really hated watching him because I feel like he'd just run up to the free throw line and just go throw his arms up, get the call. We don't see that this season. He actually fouled out in this game with 6 fouls. They're calling things a little bit differently. Do you think that could be what's affecting him?
Yeah, I think there's probably some truth to that. Keep in mind that the dude's played for how many different teams in the past 4 seasons? So, there's also just the continuity and getting used to playing with your new teammates. He still really hasn't been in Philadelphia for that long. So there's probably some of that as well. And I will say, if Philadelphia continues to move on, every round they advance to in this playoffs, they're going to need more out of James Harden, right? Like Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris have been great, but you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you get to the NBA Finals, that's a stage where your best players need to play their best. So the numbers he's putting up right now maybe won't work if you're playing in the Eastern Conference Finals against Milwaukee or something like that. But I still think there's time for him to figure it out, and we're probably going to see one of those vintage James Harden games in these playoffs sooner than later. I would bet on it.
Yeah, he just needs to find exactly what his responsibilities are in this team. We've seen guys like Tyrese Maxey go crazy. He played almost 48 minutes in this game, 19 points for him, but we saw a couple huge outbursts from him in the last couple games. So I think James Harden is still trying to just kind of fit in on this team. It's funny, 19 and 10 with 3 turnovers is a good game for anybody not named James Harden or LeBron James or one of these guys. But because he makes so much money, because he has MVP awards, because he's done all these other things, we just expect a little bit more out of him. And I think the Sixers are expecting more out of him as well.
Yeah, definitely. But like you said, it's all about finding that balance right now. 13 shot attempts for James Harden is pretty low. Like we're used to seeing him put up a ton of shots.
13
Yeah, and on this team, he doesn't really necessarily have to do that all the time. So it's it's trying to figure out where all the pieces fit and fall into place.
Yep. So thank you so much for watching. As always, please don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button. You can join us live every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also don't forget to tip your bartender.